Right now at 6 o'clock, a British Muslim political commentator arrested at SFO, his visa revoked over criticism of Israel.
This is a disturbing trend. It's very post 9/11.
How the Trump administration is defending the move. Plus, former Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger hitting the campaign trail against Prop 50. We'll hear from both sides of the redistricting fight with barely a week to go before Election Day. And we'll meet an East Bay woman living with a rare disease that's most common in Central Valley farm workers.
How did you come in contact with it?
That is the question. Nobody really knows.
How dogs could be the key to giving people like her answers on the spread of valley fever. And later,
it is absolutely the perfect pose.
we'll hear from the son of Papa Jake Larson as Martinez moves forward with new plans to honor the late World War II veteran turned TikTok sensation.
This is CBS News Bay Area with Juliette Goodrich.
Good evening. California's special election is just a week away from tomorrow. And the big race on the ballot is Prop 50, which could affect the balance of power in Congress. Supporters and opponents are both making their final pitches to voters, and that includes the former governor of California. Lauren Tom's joining us in studio now with the home stretch of this certainly heated race.
Juliette, both sides are ramping up the fight over Prop 50 with just a week before voters have their say. The only question on the statewide ballot in this special election could shift the balance of power well beyond California. And now one of the leading voices against Prop 50 is speaking out. Former California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger is warning voters against the proposal to redraw California's congressional maps. When Schwarzenegger was governor, he was a key backer of the ballot measure that voters approved, establishing California's independent redistricting commission. The goal was to take politics out of map drawing. He told CNN this weekend Californians would be cheated if Prop 50 passed.
And it saddens me to see that we're going in the opposite direction rather than having an independent commission draw the district lines. And so, Jake, I have to tell you that, when you think about this trying to out-cheat each other rather than outperform each other, it's all between Democrats and Republicans. And the ones that are getting left behind are the people.
Prop 50 would give lawmakers a one-time power to adjust districts now instead of waiting until after the next census in 2030. Local supporters say the goal is to add 5 more Democratic seats in the House next year amid an already contentious midterm battle for power on Capitol Hill.
I think they are going to make the decision to support Prop 50 because they understand that it's necessary in order for their voices to be equally represented in Washington, D.C. in 2026. Voters in California are sophisticated enough to understand that this is a moment in time with Prop 50 that they have to make a hard decision, but it's a decision where their input in redistricting using the independent commission will be retained and will be used again in 2030.
But Schwarzenegger argues changing the rules mid-cycle and for political gain risks damaging voter trust.
The American people get cheated on this whole thing. That is really the problem here. I understand that the Democrats and Republicans have to fight about this, but the ones that are not really getting anything out of this is the people of America. I think that if you want to really fight for democracy, why would you go and destroy the Constitution in California, tear it up, and go redo it, do the whole thing? So to me, it just doesn't make any sense at all, the whole thing.
Mail-in ballots are already out and early voting is underway statewide. Voters have until next Tuesday to decide.
Yeah, think about it. It's one proposition. You can study up and you can cast your vote either way. All right, Lauren, thank you. And of course, we'll be tracking the special election results live on November 4th, starting with the primetime edition on our sister station, KPIX Plus, as well as the late news at 11. You can also stream us live on the free CBS News app and online at KPIX.com. Now to a controversial arrest at SFO that's igniting a fight over free speech and who's allowed into the country. So the case involves Sami Hamdi, a British Muslim political commentator who criticizes the Israeli government. The Trump administration revoked his visa, but his supporters say he was targeted for his views on the war in Gaza. And as John Ramos reports, how it came to the attention of the State Department is another part of the story.
The arrest of Sami Hamdi is raising questions about the limits of free speech when it comes to immigration policy, but it's also raising questions about the role of social media influencers in driving those policies.
They're physically struggling to take Gaza. They've demolished it. They've bombed all the buildings, and still they can't take it.
Sami Hamdi is not shy when it comes to criticizing the state of Israel and its military campaign in Gaza. The British citizen is a frequent media commentator who was traveling on a visitor visa on a speaking tour of the U.S. He had just given a speech in Sacramento on Saturday night and was heading for another in Florida when ICE agents arrested him at SFO on Sunday morning. Rashad Nourzeh is executive director of the Council on American Islamic Relations, which sponsored the address in Sacramento.
He's had a very consistent message, and that's why we brought him here. He's spoken very vocally against the Gaza genocide, and he's been calling on the Muslim community to continue engaging through political processes, through every legal measure, social media activism, protests, whatever it might be.
But the federal government sees him as more than that. Department of Homeland Security spokesperson Tricia McLaughlin said in an email, quote, "Under President Trump, those who support terrorism and undermine American national security will not be allowed to work or visit this country. It's common sense." End quote.
This is a disturbing trend. It's very post 9/11, war on terror. Anyone that speaks up critically, and in the past it was against the U.S. government policy. Sadly, now it's anyone that speaks up against the Israeli government policy.
But at the end of her statement, McLaughlin added a link to social media influencer Amy Meck. Her real name is Amy Meckelberg, a right-wing commentator who's been railing against Hamdi's presence in this country, saying, quote, "Remove him, bar re-entry, and force the statute." Professor Bill Hing at the University of San Francisco says he is surprised at the amount of influence online posters may be having on State Department policy.
The fact that the administration is listening to a critic of this gentleman who called up the Secretary of State and said, hey, this guy's causing trouble. He's criticizing Israel and our position with respect to the Gaza situation. That's unusual that one person can call and then get this big political machine moving in this direction.
ICE says Hamdi's visa was revoked on Friday, so he was here illegally when they arrested him on Sunday. Professor Hing says there is a provision in immigration law where someone can be removed for taking a position that is contrary to American foreign policy, but it's never been used in this way.
These are the first incidents where that's being used, and the question is going to be, is taking a position critical of Israel, is that in fact contrary to U.S. foreign policy?
ICE confirmed to us yesterday that Hamdi had been arrested and was being detained and will be placed in immigration proceedings. They gave no updates today about his status or whereabouts. This year, the State Department has revoked a number of student visas for college students that have spoken out against Israel's invasion of Gaza. A growing memorial in San Jose near the scene of a violent head-on crash that killed a woman. Police say the driver of a white truck tried to pass another car on Foxworthy Avenue Friday, causing the truck to veer into the opposite lane. The surveillance camera captured what happened next, and we do want to warn you, the video is graphic. To the left of the screen, you can see the white truck collide with a blue Honda SUV, and the impact sending both cars flying several homes down the street. A woman driving the Honda died at the scene. The force of the impact shocked neighbors. One neighbor told us police believe the white truck was going 70 miles per hour down the residential street, about twice the legal limit. He jumped into action when he heard the crash.
We put the fire out. I ran inside the house, got some pliers and tools, disconnected the battery to prevent any more fire on the truck. In the last 3 to 5 years, I had actually 9 cars totaled right in front of my house due to speeders and drunk people. The driver of the truck was hospitalized and is in critical condition.
San Francisco police have arrested a man in connection with a hit and run that killed a pedestrian in the Ingleside neighborhood. Police telling us it happened just before 7 last night at Ocean and Ashton Avenues, about a half-mile west of City College. Officers say the victim died at the scene. Investigators arrested 47-year-old Haley of San Francisco, about a mile away near Brooks Park. He's been charged with gross vehicular manslaughter. San Francisco crews spent the day fixing up a water main after it burst, flooding homes in the Sunnydale neighborhood. So our chopper flew overhead this afternoon. We saw crews still there on Santos Street. They'd made a lot of progress, and you can see the road had already been paved over. And this is what it looked like just hours earlier. Crews used heavy machinery to break through the street in order to replace the pipe. The San Francisco Fire Department posted video of the scene at around 7 this morning. The roadway flooded, and the garage of some homes had about 2 to 3 feet of water. A pump was needed to clear it all out. Public utility officials tell us this was bound to happen eventually.
It's a pipe that dates to 1941. About 20% of the 1,200 miles of water pipes that we have in San Francisco that provide clean drinking water to our residents from Hetch Hetchy Reservoir, 162 miles away, 20% of them are over 100 years or more.
She says the recent rain didn't help and that water main breaks tend to happen more often after winter storms. Still ahead here at 6, how dogs could be the key to predicting the spread of a rare disease that stumped an East Bay woman's medical team for months.
You know, I didn't really know if I was ever going to have a normal life.
Plus, a potential break in the case after a well-known strip club manager was murdered in the North Bay earlier this month. A break in a high-profile murder investigation in the North Bay. 2 former employees have been arrested in the killing of a well-known San Francisco strip club manager. The suspects have been identified as Richard Lund and Asia Morton. Police say Lund shot and killed Mark Calcagni outside his Santa Rosa home on October 3rd. Morton is suspected of helping him plan the killing. Calcagni ran the Condor Club in San Francisco's North Beach. Police say both suspects were former employees and planned the killing of their former boss together. Officers arrested Lund in Dublin and caught Morton at SFO coming back from an overseas trip. Valley fever is on the rise in California. The disease is caused by fungus that grows in soil and can infect both people and animals. Our Kara St. Cyr talked with a Danville woman who doesn't know how she was exposed to the fungus, and researchers at UC Davis who say dogs may hold the answer to how the disease is spread.
Kylie Couillard couldn't explain her symptoms. Neither could her doctors.
I probably had at least 5 or 6 hospital stays. The first time was a month, and then after that, it was usually like, 2 weeks or 10 days.
She had nausea, severe bloating, and rashes covering her arms.
I didn't really know if I was ever going to have a normal life.
Endless Google searches leading to dead ends.
Yeah.
But after several hospital stays and a string of misdiagnoses, a breakthrough.
I spent a month there before they figured out that it was valley fever.
Valley fever is a fungal infection caused by breathing in spores found in soil. People who farm, work in construction, or live in rural areas are most at risk.
How did you come in contact with it?
That is the question. Nobody really knows.
But rarely, people like Kylie, who do none of these things, may get infected.
Good boy.
Jane Sykes at UC Davis thinks dogs can help us understand why.
Dogs, so we've just finished these studies looking at dog test results over the last 10 years. And the interesting thing about this disease is it's actually quite difficult to diagnose.
There wasn't a lot of data on dogs getting infected, but Sykes started compiling that information, effectively creating a map of where valley fever spreads.
We were finding examples of valley fever in places where we wouldn't normally expect it to occur based on human reporting data.
Places like Colorado, Idaho, even the Bay Area. show traces of the fungus, giving healthcare professionals a plan to educate.
This is the medication that I take every day, and I'll be taking it for the rest of my life.
So instances like Kylie's may happen less often.
CDC data shows that the number of valley fever cases in California has risen steadily over the past quarter century. In 1998, the state reported just over 700 cases. In 2024, there were more than 12,000.
Saw a little bit of rain across the Bay Area this weekend. It wasn't a substantial rainmaker, a few hundredths of an inch for most of the region, but the North Bay picked up about a third of an inch in Santa Rosa and 2/3 of an inch around Kentfield. None of that in store as we head through the rest of this week. We're looking ahead to the first weekend of November, though, in the First Alert forecast.
So we'll show you the video here. Jamaica is bracing for intense winds and rain as Hurricane Melissa bears down on the Caribbean. So there you go. This is a live look at Jamaica's capital, Kingston. You can see the roads certainly very slick right now. Camera's been shaking a bit as well. The hurricane is threatening to bring intense flooding, landslides, and widespread damage to homes. Communities closer to the coast are preparing for the worst. One woman says it is frustrating trying to get help.
They don't know the danger of this. They just feel like we just want to just be here. We don't. The line that you have to wait on to get things, it's very hard. So everybody just gives up and do what they have to do for themselves.
Hurricane Melissa is expected to make landfall in Jamaica early tomorrow. So let's bring in Chief Meteorologist Paul Hagan, who's been tracking the storm. Paul.
Yeah, and it's a Category 5 hurricane, the top of the scale with 175-mile-an-hour sustained winds around the center of circulation, which is still off the southwest coast of Jamaica. And all the white around the center of circulation, that indicates the tallest cloud tops, the most intense part of the hurricane. And the general rule of thumb is the more symmetrical the storm looks, the stronger it is because it's very organized. This has been just kind of drifting around, but it's going to move to the north as we head through the next 24 to 48 hours, which is going to take it directly over the island of Jamaica. Still is a Category 4 hurricane at that point. The mountainous terrain of Jamaica is going to tug apart at the organization of the storm a bit, but it's still going to be a Category 3 storm as it moves over the eastern edge of Cuba. So we're talking about not only hurricane force winds across Jamaica and then eventually into Cuba, but the tropical storm force winds are going to spread well away from that center of circulation, just swallowing up the entire island. And of course, it's not just wind damage that we have to be concerned about. It's also the sheer amount of rain, which is going to be falling on Jamaica and then eventually on eastern Cuba and still falling on Haiti as well over the next 48 hours. That's that storm makes its way eventually to the Bahamas and Turks and Caicos. So hurricane warnings are in effect all across the region, adding up the total amount of rain. Just look at the colors that are parked right over Jamaica and then eastern Cuba. Potential for more than 40 inches, over 3 feet of rainfall just in the next 24 to 48 hours. Way too much rain in a short amount of time and on mountainous terrain. That's why we're especially concerned about the potential for landslides and just devastating flooding for that island. Around our neck of the woods, it's the opposite situation. Very calm weather has taken hold across the Bay Area. Looking towards the Golden Gate from the Mark Hopkins Hotel, not even seeing a hint of fog out there right now. Temperatures are in the 60s across the board, anywhere from 61 in San Francisco to 68 degrees in Oakland. Those numbers will drop to a mix of 40s and 50s by early tomorrow morning, which is normal for this time of year, but we're going to warm up quickly, and temperatures are going to end up about 4 to 8 degrees above average by tomorrow afternoon. Here's where those temperatures leave us during the afternoon, a mix of 70s and 80s inland, just above 80 in San Jose, into the low 80s in Morgan Hill, with temperatures east of the Oakland Hills, a mix of upper 70s and low 80s. It's not record setting, but it's warm for late October. A mix of 70s and 80s around the Bay, 72 in San Francisco, 80 down the peninsula in Redwood City, upper 60s to near 70 at the coast, and mostly upper 70s for the North Bay until you go farther inland, getting up to around 80 degrees in Healdsburg by tomorrow afternoon. Let's take a look at the forecast as we look at the dog walking forecast for tomorrow. It's Halloween week, so we'll start off with Coda the witch. I'm sure she's a good witch. Temperatures there in Castro Valley are going to reach up into the mid-70s. Perfect dog walking weather tomorrow. Abundant sunshine and temperatures comfortably warm for this time of year. Let's take a look at the 7-day forecast, which is going to continue the warm weather on Wednesday, and then we back down a little bit Thursday. 1 day of normal temperatures, and then we warm back up again as we head into the first weekend of November. Mix of 70s and some 80s inland for the first couple days of the new month, and then back to near normal temperatures on Monday. A similar progression around the Bay. Thursday, the coolest day for everybody, and then a warm first weekend of November as everybody takes down the Halloween decorations and maybe starts some early holiday decorating. Coastal temperatures are also going to be in the up and down range, but close to 70 for the next couple of days.
Trick-or-treaters and their parents say thank you.
Yes, should be nice weather.
Thank you. All right. When we come back, our first look at the plans to permanently honor the life of a beloved World War II veteran who became an unlikely social media star late in life. A missing camper has been found after wandering from a campground in Marin County and sparking a major search operation. So Marin County Search and Rescue say they got the call Saturday night from a group of campers saying their friend was potentially intoxicated and walked away from the Olima Ranch campground, and they were worried about him. About 40 search and rescue members responded, but about an hour into the search, the man walked back to the campsite, saying he passed out in a field about a half-mile away. For people wondering how much taxpayer money this might have wasted, the answer is actually not very much. This is an all-volunteer team that is funded mostly through donations. A permanent honor is in the works for a beloved East Bay World War II veteran. The Martinez City Council approved a statue of Papa Jake Larson, the D-Day survivor turned TikTok star who died earlier this year. So the statue will be installed in front of City Hall at Plaza Ignacio. It's privately funded with the Best Defense Foundation overseeing donations. Organizers say the statue will cost around $200,000. Renderings show a 7-foot-tall bronze Papa Jake striking his signature pose.
And he loved to hold his hat up with, up in the air as a sign of respect and to honor those. I saw him do it when we went to Normandy for the 75th anniversary. He held his hat up to all of his fallen comrades over there. And it is absolutely the perfect pose.
Love it. Papa Jake's son said that his father was celebrated and recognized around the world. He used TikTok to share memories of the war, with some videos receiving millions of views.
He's brought the whole family along with him on this magic carpet ride with all of his different adventures and being honored at so many different places. We've had many opportunities that we would never have without my dad's celebrity stardom.
Papa Jake's statue will be unveiled on Veterans Day next year. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you at 7 o'clock with local news. Thanks for joining.